The general, let me start that over again.
I switched thirds too.
Okay. So if you're wondering where my glasses have gone to, they're somewhere on Space Mountain. I'm telling you, the prices of Disneyland are getting worse and worse. Something a little bit more serious than that, though, is what women are portrayed as on YouTube, or specifically the gender gap that a lot of people feel is on this website. We were at a really great panel, or I was at a really great panel, the Becoming YouTube panel, which is all about the web series that Benjamin Cook is doing. And there was a little bit of a heated discussion with both Lex and himself. I really hope that's her name, Lex. Pretty sure it's Lex. We'll go with Lex. About what she felt was misogynistic, and he felt was just him pointing out the very simple fact that women and men are portrayed differently on this website. His point being that a lot of girls are watching the site, and hers that it shouldn't matter whether you're a beauty guru or if you're just a filmmaker. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Let's find out what some other people thought about the gender gap on YouTube.
Well, I think a lot of the gender breakdown issues on YouTube basically comes down to the demographics of who watches YouTube.
People recognize the male stars more often than the female stars.
I feel like my opinion is not controversial because I see problems, but I also think that you always need to take a positive approach rather than a negative. So if you see problems, you just work towards fixing them rather than just like bashing all the negatives about it.
I think that there are, I mean, if you dig deep enough, there's amazing female vloggers. I mean, if anything, I'd say that I've had more favorite female musicians than male musicians.
I mean, if you've been following the, Becoming YouTube web series, they address the gender gap a lot, and they like to say that there's this huge gender gap, but I was really blindsided by that. I think that there's a ton of female content creators, and they have a lot of subscribers, and whether they're doing film production or whether they're beauty gurus, I think they're still legitimate and they work hard.
It's just true, there's just so many bigger YouTubers that are men, and also you have to remember that the demographic watching YouTube is a lot of teenage girls who love watching attractive men, and it's not that they're hating against other girls, it's that they have, it's they love cute boys. It's just a thing. You have to realize it's just a fact of life.
Although the Oscars have the male lead and the female lead, I think if there wasn't that clear distinction, that there would just be a lot more male winners, to be honest. And I think it's just by nature, and we're slowly working our way out of it, but it's just something you gotta work around and really push yourself to be above it.
Okay, so if you think about youth culture, and specifically tween culture, 12, 13-year-old kids, guys, 13-year-old dudes aren't as clingy to their cultural figures as girls are. Think about One Direction, think about boy bands, and so you have very much the same thing going on YouTube. Many of the most popular YouTubers right now are these British dudes, in much the same way that One Direction are British dudes. They're very in vogue right now. So I think a lot of the issues about women on YouTube versus men on YouTube just stem from the raw demographics of who is using YouTube. And I think that as YouTube becomes more and more universal and you start seeing, more and more 50, 60-year-olds, consuming content, I think those issues will sort themselves out.
I mean, I don't want to place one over the other, but I think that especially in the mainstream society of YouTube, there's definitely a stronger focus in the male department.
Yeah.
I think that there's amazing female vloggers out there, and they need to be brought to the surface a bit more. But that's just my opinion. You can think whatever you want to think.
You're promoting content that you love. Just as long as you're promoting content that you love, despite sex, despite race, despite everything, then things are going to slowly solve themselves. And so I think that I don't get jealous of other girls. I love other girls. If girls are making great content, I'm going to support that. But I'm also going to support men who are making great content. And I'm not going to be like, they only made it big because they're a cute guy, As long as you are being that person who is supporting everything that you just think is good, I think that slowly people will see that that's really the right thing to do, and it's just going to keep getting better. At least that's what I hope.
I'm a white North American male, so I've got it pretty goddamn easy. And the conversation I've been having with a lot of people this weekend is that I can sympathize but never fully empathize with what women are feeling like. 'Cause I'm never going to really know what they have to go through with the stupid comments that they get on their channels and on their videos. I don't really have to put up with that. As the demographic grows, let's take MTV for instance. MTV is geared towards a very specific market, so you actually eventually grow out of that. But YouTube, because of how many different types of content there are on this website, that demographic will switch over to different channels. And I can see it as teens and tweens grow up, that they're going to be finding some other great content on this website. At least I can only hope that that's what happens. We are only 8 years into this website, and I am so excited to see where it grows to, and I hope that it includes all types of races, cultures, sexual preferences, and genders.
Going into last year, so I had so many people to connect to and to talk to and nerd out with, and it's just
Is an industry on the same level as, traditional media?
I think online